tonight is my very first conversation piece. Um, I gotta stop saying right off the bat. Very first thing, I want to apologize if I slur my words or if I look like I'm tired, because I am. I was just said again. I was going to let this news die down, but before I went to bed, it's just this topic has just exploded everywhere, and people are making a pretty huge deal about it. And since I've been a video gamer since the '80s, yeah, I'm an old man. Um, I got the first Nintendo Entertainment System in 1985, and I was kind of lucky enough to have had just about every system since then. The Sega Genesis, the Super Nintendo, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance. I think you get the picture. Even now in our house, we have a Switch, an Xbox One S, and a PlayStation 4. So, here's what I want to talk about. I've been checking out YouTube today, and all over the place, suggested videos. And what is it I see? But they're blowing up the YouTube and everything about a new video game console system that just got launched like sometime within the past couple of days. And I've been reading up on it, and there is videos everywhere, videos galore, and people are just bashing the heck out of this guy. Well, I wanted to give my unbiased opinion about this situation and what's going on. Okay, the person who is making released a new video game console is a rapper by the name of Soulja Boy, and I've heard some of his music. Like I think one of the songs is called "Crank That." Anyways, it's all right stuff, what I've been reading today, all these people, kind of making fun of him because of the console, because this console is like basically available on AliExpress, which is a Chinese kind of bootleg, knockoff, bulk manufacturer, reproduction people, and they're saying that Soulja Boy knows everything that's going on with this console, and that what's being done is being done on purpose by him. I mean, they have parody pictures. I'm looking at my laptop, by the way. They have parody pictures of the system being available at GameStop and Toys R Us and different places like that. They have prank call videos of people calling these stores asking for, and the official name is called the Soulja Boy game console. Let me get this right here. Let's see. It is. Okay, I'm clicking this link here. Says the Soulja game console retails for $199.99, but they're currently on sale for $149.99. Meanwhile, the Soulja game Handheld, which is the Handheld, is $149, but it's on sale for $99. So it appears that fans are eager to buy the Entertainment One Artists console and handheld. The Crank That rapper even promised to send consoles and handhelds to those who want to review them for their gaming channels. And that may be what I've been seeing all day. And I have seen the UI, which is a lingo for the user interface, you know, what the selection screen looks like to play the games and emulators. There's been reviewers, honestly, they've been they said, you know, that usually when a new piece of tech comes out, someone takes it apart, you know, it's called a tear down, and they want to see what's under the hood. Well, there was this guy earlier, you know, he's like, I'm going to do a teardown of the new Soulja Boy game console. And, you know, literally he's there, and it looks like he's going to take a screwdriver and like he's going to take it apart. But instead he's like, bam, bam, with like a rubber mallet hammer until, you know, he kind of like cracks this thing open, and he's like, you know, he just pulls it all apart. And, you know, like a lot of people are like, yeah, you know, they're screaming and chanting. You know, I really don't know how to feel about it, honestly. Because, you know, I'm trying to get the full picture. I go to Soulja Boy's, his Twitter. And let's see what he says. Because a lot of people seem to be knocking him in their videos and their reviews of the console. And, you know, when you become famous, I mean, I'm not famous, but I've seen this happen to so many famous people. They get targets on their backs, and everybody comes out of the woodwork and tries to make, you know, suggest that they invest their money in certain things. You know, people come out of the woodwork to take advantage of these people. And, you know, from what I'm reading, you know, Soulja Boy, you know, he's a gamer. He's been a gamer for a while. And, you know, he's been wanting to make his own video game system. And that appears to be, you know, what has happened here. But, you know, just how involved he was in the making of the video game system, whether he's been shown the hardware or understands the hardware, you know, that has not yet been proven, or, you know, the whole story is just not here yet. You know, as people would say, you know, the jury's still out. We don't know the whole story. We only know half of it. The half we know, people don't like, and I understand that. They do not like the game systems. You know, here's what Soulja Boy says on his Twitter. It says, "To the first person that purchased my console, you just brought tears to my eyes. Tears of joy. Thank you so much for your support. I promise to continue my tech company and involve it in the gaming world. I'm just a kid with a dream." You know, that doesn't sound like somebody that knows that, you know, that they're about ready to release a bootleg, low quality system that I'm about to tell you about. That sounds like somebody with dreams and aspirations and a goal that they've set. You know, that doesn't, something's not adding up. Over here, 15 hours ago, he tweeted, "Wow, made $250,000 from my game console. It's been less than 24 hours since release. WTF. Thank you guys so much." So that again doesn't sound like a guy that knows that he's done anything wrong. Um, so that is what the whole conversation is about. Is about these game systems, and whether he knew, exactly what was happening behind the scenes. And I wanted to talk about it tonight because this topic is red hot right now. Because everybody are saying, Soulja Boy's going to be sued. He's going to go bankrupt. He's going to spend time in jail. Blah blah blah. This that. You have people breaking consoles on YouTube channels. You have people swinging the controllers around. Madness. It's kind of like a backwards Black Friday sale or something. It's like nothing I've seen before. But what I was going to tell you is I have seen the user interface. I have seen the quality of these consoles. And I will tell you that in my opinion, these are all my opinions, remember, that these consoles are very poorly made. They are made to look like current generation game systems, and then they play like 1985 to the 1990s emulators. Their UI, user interface, their operating system, excuse me, they have a lot of errors within the language, which I've seen a lot of this happen before. When something is rushed by Chinese bootleggers, you will see that their English isn't 100%. And in the menus, you will see like Mario with 2 O's. There's in the list of games on there, in the Soulja game home console, it has 801 games. And it goes on various platforms. You have Neo Geo, PlayStation 1, Game Boy Advance, regular Game Boy. So you see right there, those companies, in my opinion, would never, all coexist together and license one system to run all these ROMs, these emulators which run the games, which are called ROMs. And they're not only misspelled, they're mislabeled. Like one says Street Fight 2, and then to the right of it, it has a picture which is the digital cover art, and it says Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 4, I think on the 360, and it's Street Fighter 2 from like the early 90s, and it runs very poorly. There's a lot of like screen tear, motion blur problems. It looks like the CPU and the logic board inside is just struggling to run some of these games, like it was never meant to run on it. So you'll have frame drop. The button configuration is just out of place on some of them. And some of these games, it makes it unplayable, like in Street Fighter, I was just telling you. And in Metal Slug for the Neo Geo, in that it's just a mess. I mean, if you guys there's a lot of controversy going on with the PlayStation 1 Classic. Well, that was a legit system. It just sucked. So it is completely illegal. We know that. It just sucked. This right here not only sucks, the system itself, but it's also very questionable. It's most likely bootlegged, which, Nintendo a couple of weeks ago won a lawsuit against, let me see who it was, what website. Okay, Nintendo has filed a lawsuit against the operator of two websites that served ROMs of old Nintendo console video games, calling them brazen and mass-scale infringement of Nintendo's intellectual property rights. Let's see, they took down loveretro.com, and the other is Love ROMs, on July the 19th, and was sued for $12 million. So, if Nintendo's going to, that's just one company. That's Nintendo. That's not Neo Geo. That's not Sony. That's not Sega. You know, that's none of the other companies. That's just one company. And if they're going to sue for that much, just think if you get all these, you know, emulators, meaning different software that runs the different systems, like, you know, like I just told you, like Neo Geo, the PlayStation 1, you know, all those different game systems, those different companies have different trademarks, like Capcom, you know, like if the main companies, you know, like Nintendo owns Mario, there's Mario games on there. I think Nintendo will be all over that. You know, the Sony owns God of War. You know, they're going to be all over that. You know, just all their intellectual rights, their properties that are to their systems, they're going to be all over it. It's kind of like, you know, even when you make a movie, you have to pay licensing fees. You know, everybody has to pay the piper somehow. And you have to pay licensing fees, like in the movies, for the theaters to carry the movies. You know, they pay the big movie industries and studios, you know, to carry their movies. They make a percentage, and these people get a percentage, and it just breaks down, you know, to the chain of command. Well, you know, it's just like, you know, like I'm going to go out, and it's kind of like the deal with, it's kind of like, let me use an analogy here. Okay, a lot of people were using Fire Sticks to install, that they were saying jailbreak, but really you just change the setting, and, you know, you installed like Kodi, and then you install Kodi onto the Fire Stick, and then you can watch movies that are in the theaters that people have literally took a camera and camcorded the movie. You know, some are ripped straight from the reel, but either way, it's illegal. It's like somebody going out there recording all these movies and then printing off cover art and saying, and selling them as legit, like putting them in Walmart and say, here you go. You know, here's here's the new, what new movie's out right now? Let me see. Creed 2. Yeah, Creed 2. Here's the new Creed 2 right here. It's a new release, you know. What would happen what would happen if you walked in Walmart and saw that there? You know, and you're like, something's not right. You know, how fast do you think they would, you know, take Walmart down if they started selling movies that are in the theaters right now, if they didn't have any agreement for licensing or anything? I'd say pretty fast. So that is the legal aspect of it. I mean, and the same goes for the handheld too. It's got a 3-inch screen. It's put together poorly. But the Soulja handheld game console, You can pretty much see that game console. It's been on AliExpress for months, but Soulja Boy, it looks like they made a special edition for him. It is a different color, and it has his likeness on the box. You know, like a little, I believe it's like a cartoon little drawing character of him. And it says Soulja Boy game console. And the same with the handheld too. So they've just took something really generic that they make in bulk. They've changed it up a little bit with his image, and they've called it his console. Now they usually sell those consoles that doesn't have his picture for like $60 to $70. But now nothing has changed on the inside. Just his picture on the box. And now it sells for $149. The handheld usually sell for like $40. Now they sell for $100. Very, very poor quality. Like I said, they are made to look like, you know, the Soulja Boy home console is made to look like an Xbox One with PlayStation 4 controllers. It's anything but. On the inside, it has a logic or motherboard, whichever you want to call it, smaller than a Raspberry Pi. Now, the Raspberry Pis, you know, they still do illegal things, but they're pretty good at what they do. The logic and motherboard inside of this, I mean, you could really have put this whole system onto a Pez dispenser almost. It's so small. The rest of the case is there just for looks, except for the USB extenders, which they use all the way to the front. It's pretty much so light because it's an empty case. And I mean, it's so, you know, I would give it worse than a 0 if you give it a 0. It's a complete mishap in the game world, and I don't know what's going to happen in the end. I mean, look, you got this guy. I mean, you got people making jokes. Remember how I said that people were calling different places? I mean, here's this kid. I don't know if you can.
I know this side. How can I help you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
I was calling to find out if you guys have the Soulja Boy game console in stock.
If I have the what?
The Soulja Boy game console.
No.
Are you're not getting it in stock, or you don't know what I'm talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, because Soulja Boy's coming out with a new video game console, so I'm trying to pick it up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not something we would carry.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Bye-bye. Yo, so that one chick straight up fucking trolled, and the other dude straight up fucking at home. Bro, GameStop, that's what you doing now? You trolling your customers?
So apparently GameStop or none of the big brick and mortar video game stores are carrying the Soulja Boy game consoles. You know, surprise. You know, that guy. Anyways, what I'm getting at in the end to conclude this conversation. So we all know that the hardware is actually, my opinion again, complete and utter junk. I wouldn't even use it for a doorstop. But the closing part of the conversation is this. The guy himself, Soulja Boy, you know, from reading his tweets and, you know, hearing him talk online and everything, I'm not really so convinced that he knows that what's going on. I don't really know if he knows the quality of the stuff that's going out. If he's just seen, like, if somebody in the background has said, look, this is what you're selling, man. You're going to be the next, you know, you're gonna be super rich because and well loved because people love video games, and you're gonna be making all kinds of money off these video games. You know, are people doing that to him, or do you guys think he's guilty? Do you think he's trying to make a quick buck? You know, I mean, you can get these cheap knockoffs that are just the same on. Everybody knows about the Wish app, right? Wish app. Well, just download the Wish app and look under retro, and you'll see the exact same console in a different color for about, like I said, 60, 70 bucks. You know, sometimes you can find them a little cheaper. It just doesn't have Soulja Boy's, you know, likeness on there or the box. And, you know, like I said, the box is misleading too. It says 4K, HDR. You know, those are on the, you know, this generation, you know, new specs and new tech, you know, that you have to put on a 4K TV. You know, this thing is playing games from the 1980s. You know, what a joke. You know, it has composite. I mean, you want to see an odd pairing? I mean, odd pairing is, you know, you have RCA composite jacks right next to an HDMI out. I mean, how classic is that? So, before I sign off, I just want to know, do you guys think Soulja Boy's innocent? Should everybody be so rushed to judge, you know, somebody like that? You know, people don't have to buy the game systems, you know. You know, maybe somebody should try to reach out to him and, you know, tell him what's going on, like, really fast. You know, before he does get in trouble. You know, before these video game companies try to sue him and ruin him. Especially if he's innocent. If he's innocent. I did say the word if. So, is he innocent or is he guilty? Because, and don't tell me what you think of the game system, because I already know. But, innocent or guilty, your thoughts on the situation in the comment box below. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for sitting through this long conversation. And I will see you guys later.